Hello everyone, we're glad to see you at our SAP Tech Talks event. Before we start, I'd like to inform you that the webinar will be recorded and then posted on our YouTube channel. Please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A field. Our speaker today is Andrey Nikolaychik, Associate Director of Business Solution Architecture at EPAM Systems, who will be discussing enterprise retail. Andrey, you have our undivided attention.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Today we'll be talking about retail and IT in retail. So the topic itself is quite large, and I doubt that I can cover a big part of it because I can be talking for 8 hours long and not covering half. So, but let's start. So, at first, few words about myself. I have 15 plus years in retail. I was working in two major retail companies, which have 30,000 stores each. So, and I was leading SAP implementation projects there, and then acting in different managerial roles in IT. I have 30 plus years with SAP, making SAP projects in different roles. Participating, my first SAP project was in previous century, it was long ago. I've got 40 plus years in IT projects, different ones. So I was on different IT roles, effectively working my whole life in IT. So what we'll be talking about today. First, we'll discuss what retail is as a business system. What's the essence of the retail? What are the key points of attention should be? What are and what the consecutives are? And SAP specific realities. I will not be talking about car activity repository or other SAP related things that they have developed for retail specifically, but I will be talking about the specific aspects that you need to look at when you suggesting something to a retail company. Then a few words about how to adapt your proposal to retail, which is maybe the most important part. And then we'll switch to questions and answers. So I hope I'll be able to answer some of your questions there. So let's start. So talking about retail. Retail is actually not a set of stores. We as a customers, we normally perceive retail to be a set of stores. That's our customer interface, where we go, where we see the goods, the products, where we purchase everything. However, it is not. It is a huge operating chain with a big goods flow from the supplier through the distribution center or distribution centers to the stores, then to the customer. And today I'll be actually talking about the classical retail thing. I know there's lots of the modern trend for for e-commerce. However, we will go with the classical ones first. Maybe if that will be interesting, we'll then cover e-commerce in the next sessions. So looking at this huge chain, we understand that the further we go downstream, the more is the volume. I mean, more items there are. For example, supplier ships the whole truck of 33 pallets to the distribution center. In the distribution center, it gets splitted to the pallets. Then it gets splitted to the boxes and goes to the stores. And then it's split to the items and goes to the customer. So the further downstream we are, the more effect has every change that we make. For example, if we modify the business process so we can earn or save $1, on 30,000 stores, we'll save $30,000. And it's actually a lot. And the higher upstream we are, then we have higher criticality of all the processes, because if we do something wrong with the prices or assortment or replenishment, we'll have a huge problem which will multiply by the number of stores, and that's very critical. And one more thing that comes out of it, not not uh, not a single retailer looks at the individual transactions. They all look at the flow of transactions. They operate in terms of flow, whether it goes or where it stops. Is it good or is it bad? Uh, but never on the individual ones. Then, few words about how retail earns money. Uh, there was an old joke saying that a retailer is someone who buys something for $1, then sells it for $3, and lives on this 2%. Effectively, they don't. Why is that? Because they do operate on a competitive market, which means they cannot raise prices. The price is dictated by the market, by the so-called of agreement between all the retailers and the customers. So they've got the front margin, which is around about zero. It's very, very low. They try to earn a bit on front margin, but they actually don't. Then why do they operate? How do they earn money? The most of the money comes from back margin. What's back margin then? It's vendor rebates mostly, and discounts on the volumes. To illustrate that, we can think of a contract with a vendor or with supplier, which says that if the retailer will sell their products for, or purchase from them the products for $1 million, for example, they'll have during the year, they will have a 10% discount, which they will get as a cashback at the end of the year. And if, for example, they'll sell the products on $10,000, $10 million, then they'll have 15% discount. That's how it works. And that's the main thing, how they earn money. But that's not the only one. One of them is also penalties. All the suppliers get very strict service level agreements. So how they can ship, how they provide the documents, and every single small error they make results in the penalties to the suppliers. And if the service level discipline is low for the supplier, this amount can be compared to the price cost of the goods. Actually, it's can be quite high. So that's another source how they get money. That's like something like low costers in aviation. Then services. Retailers also offer services. These services are normally very much connected to the things that retailers do, and actually suppliers cannot reject these services, honestly speaking. But that's one more part where they earn lots of money. For example, logistics. The supplier gets so-called service, which tells the supplier that he not necessarily should ship the goods to the individual stores, but to the DC, and then the retailer will ship it to the stores for them. That's called service, which is fine. And another one is advertising. I mean, promotions that retailer makes for the supplier. It's not this service results not only as lowering prices, which retailer requests to lower prices for the promotion period for the supplier. Effectively, the supplier can go negative at that period in the margin for a short period of time, and retailer will also get zero, but it will make a promotion, will increase the flow of people and the turnover of other goods. So they also sell advertising, making the right placement of the goods, and they sell the shelf space, like they can sell the place for a fridge with Coca-Cola or something in the store, which also sold for some um, additional amount. That's how they actually earn money. But the last one is not earning money, but how they do operate. They work, all the retailers work on trade credit. What does it mean? That means they pay the suppliers after they get money from the customers. So every time they plan the purchasing from the suppliers, they think of how soon they can sell it. I mean, what's the turnover, and what's the terms that they should put in the payment, so they can get their money before they will have to pay the vendor, and that's what they put in the contract. And that effectively means that if this, for example, we take the good, profitable, big retailer, successful on the market, and just imagine that all the sales will stop for a couple of weeks. That will actually result the retailer go bankrupt only because of this trade credit thing. That's the important thing. The retailer should operate all the time. They cannot stop the sales for a week or two. That's very, very important one. Then we'll talk about the scale, the retail. All the because of what I told you previously, the scale is one of the most important things in retail. The larger retailer is, the more they earn. I mean, not linear, but money increase in percentages. So first of all, the big scale means that the cost of central office, central operations, distribution centers, all the central things get distributed by larger number of stores and points, which will lead to operational excellence. And it will actually cost less per store, which is good and effective. But that's not the only one, certainly. Vendor discounts will be higher, certainly, because what I just told you. Um, the discounts will be higher when you will have more stores, which will result in higher volumes for the vendors. And also, if we select the vendors that will provide more goods, that means in overall we'll have a higher discount from them. And then negotiation power, that's very close to the vendor discounts, but not the same one, because when retailer does negotiations with everyone, not only the vendors, not only the suppliers, but also sometimes even government or other partners. If the small retailer comes to them discussing something, the terms of agreement, they probably will go agreed on the supplier's terms. And if a big one or a leading national retailer will try to agree with the terms, they probably will go with their terms, and their rules. That's how it actually works. And the last one I will notice is if scale is large, the retailers can operate with private label. What's the private label? When we buy branded goods, we pay only half of the price we pay is for actually the good itself, the item itself, but uh, the rest we pay for the brand, for the trust, for the reliability, for the advertising, covering all these costs. cost and effectively for our confidence in that product. And retailers, so they don't really want to lose that money that comes from the brand. So big retailers do create their own brands, effectively outsourcing the production of these brands to the reliable companies, but putting their own brands on top. That will result in two things. First, they'll keep lots of money for themselves. And another one is mm, they will they can monitor the quality of the goods, and they will keep their customers to themselves. I mean, if the customer will try to go to the other retailer, he'll understand that his preferred goods with the brands that he likes are not there because it's a private label brands. That's how they keep the customers for themselves. Then and the scale efficiency is all retailers will try to keep the scale large and grow larger because it means they're a big advantage for them. And technically speaking, I mean, not technically, but closer to techniques, I would say that retailer, for me, retailer is actually everything about integration. We have lots of stores, we have lots of customers, we have lots of DCs, we have lots of suppliers. We need to integrate them all. And integration is just the key part of the retail. That's where retailer should be should have the most focus for them. And so the integration for the business processes is very important because all these processes with purchasing, sales, distribution process, the timing, the connectivity between them, the payments should work perfectly well, because otherwise the whole thing will not be working. In the marketplaces, it will be even more critical, the integration, because it's all about integration. Then the other level, lower level, which we as IT or SAP consultants understand, we should have good integration between applications, between ERP that has orders, WMS systems that makes the supplies, CRM, analytics, everything should be integrated. Otherwise, the people will not be able to manage the whole process. And about the hardware and the networks, that's the third level down. Also, the integration is critical. Why is that? You just imagine we have 30,000 stores, and we have a good SLA for network integration. It's like 99% our network should work, which effectively will result in 300 stores being offline every moment. That's a lot. And when the whole team will try to restore the connectivity for these 300 stores, they make it for an hour or two. Normally, that's mean average time that the connectivity restores. Then other 300 stores go offline, and that happens all the time. So every day, the whole team for networks is working for that, for example. So integration is the most critical thing, and online transparency, when integration works well, online transparency gives a good instrument for management of the goods flow, of the process flow, and about all the work of the retailer. And poor integration certainly increases fraud, losses, service failures, especially fraud, because there is In companies which have 30,000 stores, there's 500,000 people there. So if the discipline is low and there's no control over the management, for the management over the company, then the fraud increases to extraordinary values. Then another one, which I would like to tell you, is how they manage the process, how management works in retail. They manage retail. They manage everything by exception, which means all the processes run automatically. They every time they design a process, they design it so the management should not be involved in its daily operations. Like it's about the core process, certainly the core flow processes. Some minor ones can be manual, but just the minor ones. The others should work as a stream, as a flow. If you can automate them, wonderful. If you can't, you put some people inside, but you don't manage them. They know what to do. They have a strict process which they need to follow, and they go through that process. And management only get involved when there's an exception. And there actually lots of exceptions happen all the time, and all these exceptions should be prioritized. So uh, in the process, either system or the people detect deviations and understand what to do. Uh, so first prioritize them, and then action on the ones that are most um, valuable, which will bring or save more money. And what's need to be what we will need to understand, that management will never look at the individual transaction. No one will be looking at an individual purchase order or a sales ticket or something like that. They'll be all looking at the flow, and they will definitely require, that's coming from to the next topic, they'll come to they'll go to they'll require an analytics, very good analytics to do that. And the next one is that retail operates under constant change. There are lots of changes coming from different assortments that comes to retailer with different supply models, different pricing. How it works? Why does retail has 10 times more changes at the same period of time rather than compared to manufacturing, for example? That's first because the market is very competitive. Big retailers have a great advantage over the small ones because of what I just told you. The front margin is low for everyone, and the big retailers have big discounts on the back margin, and the small retailers don't. But they also need to think of something which will allow them to earn money. And that's actually additional services or additional customer services that will lead to customer attention to their network or to the small retailer. They should give something to the customer to attract them. And so they keep thinking of different models, how to operate, how to adapt to the market, how to get a bit of a money additional to this low margin that they get from the front. And then the big retailers, watching at the new trends that appear on the market from the small retailers, they also need to cope with it. Otherwise, they'll lose the customers. So that's effectively means that they'll need to adapt their systems to lots of changes which happen. Sometimes the changes are in assortments. To have additional assortment type in your category list will result in changing information systems. There's lots of examples of that. The pricing models also does change, and the rules they operate, how they ship, how they supply, how they purchase, everything. And what I didn't tell about is the legislation part, which is critical. So a retailer does combine various industries inside itself. So it can sell an outfit, it can sell milk products, and can sell everything. And these different uh, types of products will result in following different legislation types, which were designed for the certain product type. For example, there's separate legislation for alcohol, there's separate legislation for milk products, there's separate legislation for outfit, and retail should follow them all. And any changes legislation will result in additional change that retailers should be doing. Also, transportation one, also there's quite a lot. So that effectively means that retailer requires a big team and constant change process. We should uphold it. Then I would like to say a few words how it does reflect in SAP specific realities. What reflection it does have in SAP. So talking about integration, returning to the integration thing. We really need to make zero downtime integration. And those retailers that cannot make it in SAP, it actually took me 3 years before I came to zero downtime integration, where I managed to do it in one of my big retailers that I was working for. That's that result in good connectivity, trading, uh, timely exceptions. They could react timely on everything that was happening, and the stability. That we've made it together with SAP, with active global support. We made the integration, how it was working, not near zero time. It was really zero downtime integration. So when we will need to do the maintenance on a server or on a database or wherever, that effectively means that integration flow will switch to another copy of the service, and integration continues. Then we do the maintenance and then bring the node back. That's how it should work. And normally retailers have the integration as their own responsibility. They rarely give it to give it outside because of it's very critical for them. But if you are implementing a big project, the integration is something that you should be looking at first. That's extremely important part. Then mass changes driven by analytics. Uh, Actually, well, what I told you is that retailers operate with the data flows, which means they need a good analytics to see what's happening in the data flows. There are millions of transactions going in and out. They need to understand what our deviations are, what exceptions are. So analytics should have an instrument that will allow them to see the analytics of what's going on at the moment, and also some instruments on how to react on them. what to add to the process, how to change it, to actually bring the management solution um, into the system, to the system transactions, creating hundreds of records there at one button press. These instruments are very critical for them, and a user UI for individual transaction is not important because they just don't work with individual data entry. They all that's all automatic, and it's actually funny. Even on the store level, they don't really look at most of the time the interfaces of the system they work with. Um, there was a story when we created a very good POS system for point of sale for the stores, like back office. So it was they had an old-fashioned one with lots of unneeded buttons, with lots of pages, lots of unneeded things in it. So we created a very nice and fancy one. It was shining. It was very convenient, very nice looking. So we came then to the store management and said, "Okay, how do you feel? Do you think it's better now?" She said, "Oh yeah, your application is wonderful. Everything's good. But if you want an honest answer, that you should understand that we don't care about the interfaces." Because we don't look at the screen when we press the buttons, and even if we do, we press it that many times that we do it just automatic. We need the functionality, the speed, not the view, not how it looks like. So that's important thing. That's how it should be presented. When you implement something, any transaction, a development for retailer, every time think of the volumes. That she should cover lots of volumes, and these volumes should be they should manage that these volumes. They should operate on these volumes, and they should see these volumes going through the system. And effectively, SAP in retail in the center, it runs like a conveyor factory, which is large. So they've got a processing layer inside, which has a huge data flow. It should work pretty well and fast. With the day profiles, night profiles. Another one is which is not obvious. The system should be scalable. What I said, because all retailers will try to increase the scale as much as they can, because that's the way to earn money in retail. And there's one part of SAP which is not that scalable, I would say, and that's why it becomes critical. That's NQ service performance, which create logs. Logs is something that prevents a record to be updated at the same time with two different processes, leading to errors. So first, when you want to update it, you put the lock on the record, then you update it, then you release the lock. First you enqueue, then you dequeue the actual record in the system. And this process is when the system scales to a big amount of servers. For example, if you have 50 application servers working in the system, then your still NQ service runs just on one core process core, which is next to nothing. So you should really test how your transactions will work and how it will work with NQ performance. You should test it, you should tune it, you should pay separate attention to that thing because it is not scalable in SAP. Then having a huge flow of data into retailers. And for example, what I've seen is they got 6 to 10 terabytes incoming data flow per month, which is quite a lot. If you don't do archiving on that, you will result in the huge database, half a petabyte database in like 5 years. You'll definitely have a problem with that, which will result in very slow database operations. You won't be able to perform well with the retail databases. Analytics will be terrible with the speed. The amount of hardware that you'll need will be enormous, and the cost of it will rise to the skies. So archiving is something important. So designing your solution, think of the whole data flow, data lifetime, how the data is created, how it's been processed, how long should it be stored, and when it should be deleted or archived in the system. Don't just think of data entry there. So, and also you should have a strong team which will make the performance test. And performance test is something very much valuable with core retail processes. Not every team can perform properly. For example, when I was leading performance teams, performance test teams, uh, we managed to make it right like from the fifth time, I would say. So we changed the process 4 times to make it more or less right. So and certainly in this huge conveyor, we shouldn't intervene, do some ad hoc interventions there. Everything should be tested, well tested before being implemented there. Then a few words about proposal thing and this standpoint. So first of all, it's very, very important to understand where you integrate your solution. You have your RFP. In RFP, they say that they want that and that and that from you, something. And first thing that you need to understand, in which part of the process your solution will fit, how it will fit in the whole process of the chain, because and the flow, and you should understand the inputs and outputs and the systems that you'll or modules or other functionalities that you'll have to integrate with. Why is that? That's because the cost of this integration and alignment can result in half a price of your project. It can be very, very much, very, very important. And the analytics that they will try to make out of the process should also, your solution should also comply with analytics, with the master data they have, and it should follow the SLAs that they have for that part. That's an important thing which you should focus when selling something to retail. And analytical instruments, that what I told you several times already, that they need process control, flow control. They need to understand the data, but not the individual ones, but overall, whether they're good in terms of process or not. You should sell them the instrument they will be looking at. Don't sell them the transaction, the functionality. I mean, you do, but the more value you will have when you'll tell them or show them, like in prototype or something, their working place, the for the manager who can see and actually operate with their SAP system, having different options to react on the exceptions or to other triggers, to see analytics, to have a transparent picture of what's going on. And that's something that gives a huge payback. Actually, when you focus on that, when you make a demo showing how they will work, uh, you'll be they will prefer you to the others that don't understand that thing. Uh, so for local IT, so what I just said, retailers operate at very high volume of change. That means they have a very big team of IT which support and develop the system that they own. And what they normally do, they get a solution from the integrators. Who they give the integrators the opportunity to build a solution, but they want to get it and to tune it. So the solution should be parameterized so they can adjust the rules, because they always work in the changed world. I mean, in the changed environment. So to some extent, the solution should be parameterized. They should they will want to take it from you. Then it should be well documented. Again, because they will need to take it to understand how it works and to do the changes. Then should be extensible, both in terms of functionality and in terms of scale. So the solution should be tested on the scalability and the functionality extension, because that what they will do with it. And the training, handover, all of that should also be planned when you should think about it definitely when making proposal to the retailer, and they does value that. So this option to make it configurable, to make it flexible, uh, will give your proposal a bigger value in the view of the retailers. The other one, which I didn't talk about yet, that's how retailers, especially those that operate on stock exchange, how they being valued. I mean, everybody looks at retailer normally at their operation excellence, how they operate. So which means everybody looking at EBITDA, and that's why retailers always want everything that can be capitalized on the project to go in capex. Otherwise, it will go to the OpEx and will affect EBITDA, which they really don't want to. So we'll lower their KPIs and the value in stock exchange. So when you make the proposal to retailer, just think what can be capitalized and how to structure your proposal the way that it can be that the retailer can capitalize it actually. make it capex. It retailers normally have problems with cloud services because they go to OpEx. They would prefer to purchase the computers themselves, to purchase licenses, to have them to be their owners, only because of the capex thing. Just think of it when doing your proposal. And the next one is deferred payments. And I told you that retailers work on trade credit. And these deferred payments in the trade credit, it's not only about the goods they purchase, that's also about the services they purchase, even from the integrators. And they have the normal practice that they have, like deferred terms of 60, 90, 40 days deferred payments. So please think of don't expect them to pay you right after you finish your job. So you may require a credit from a bank to credit this 60, 90 days because you won't get the money right away. That's how they work. That's their model. So that's if you think of it before you submit your proposal, and we'll calculate based on that. That means you will comply with them, and you'll have a better position, actually. And also, when you create your proposal, think of this season, retail seasons. They don't operate evenly through the year. So there are some peak periods, some periods with the maximum loads, minimum load. Yeah, you should understand it. You should respect it. For example, if thinking about December, around about Christmas time, it always very high sales. So all the key retail personnel is fully dedicated to the sales and trying to make the things working as fast as possible, because that's the time when they earn their money mostly. Different retailers have different seasonality, different peak periods. I just took December, Christmas as a classical example. So, which means that in the stores it will be in December, in distribution centers it will be in November, because the stores should be supplied in November to make them operational in December, etc. But that's when people will be busy. You won't be able to communicate properly with them. The calendars will be overloaded. So don't plan the huge work with them on the peak periods. That's so when you will plan your schedule, you shouldn't plan for that. So you should think of properly structuring it, actually, in terms of dates. And I'll repeat a few things, the key takeaways about the proposal. That's you should integrate into the conveyor and understand the point where it sits. Your solution will sit in the data flow. Sell management by exception. Sell the instrument they will get, the management, how to drive the flow, the process, and ally with their economics and specifics and the calendars. That's effectively that's it from my side. So we can switch to questions answers. Ilona?
Yeah. Andrei, thank you so much for this great and valuable presentation. And yes, we have the first question, which is, Is there a certain pivot point when a retailer becomes a large one?
Well, I would say 100 stores. That's what I think about. For me, 100 stores is a large retailer. Some national retailers have, with small countries, have 200 stores, 250 stores. But the for me is around about 100.
Thank you. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions. Or we just need some more time for the others to just generate them. Okay. Okay, so as far as I understand, we don't have any questions left. It was just the only one. All right.
Well, we'll be happy to answer questions from anyone. Maybe we can answer them in later sessions if there will be any, or I can then extend what I just said, or certain aspects of that later.
Okay, so if there are no questions left, then we would like to thank Andrey for this great presentation. Oh, yes, we have another one. I'm sorry, we have just to stop my part and ask a question. So how do you evaluate SAP Cloud Platform's capability?
That depends what you mean in capability of cloud platforms, whether it's functional, whether it's talk about functional capability or about technical capabilities, performance capabilities. For performance, it's pretty simple. You just test them, and how do I for SAP platforms? Well, they are in good shape actually. In terms of functionality, they keep making it better for retail. When it started, it was awful, really, and they are a bit behind for AI services at the moment. In the SAP, but they catch up very quickly. So think they're good.
Yeah, here's just the remark that it was about non-functional, like scalability, price, continuous operations, if I get it correctly, related to your question about evaluation.
Scalability and price.
Price, continuous operations.
Well, there are problems with SAP in terms of scalability. You should understand that SAP is also a very huge company with very sometimes it's very slow to get a proper scalability from them and a good service which retailer requires actually. So you need to plan for your for this gap between the required service and the SAP provided service. So you'll have to have that thing is inside your team. That's the important thing, I would say. So SAP doesn't cover the retailer necessities.
Thank you. Let me check if we have some more questions. All right. Okay. So if we have no more questions left, then Andrey, thank you so much for your amazing presentation. And just to remind, yes, we have some questions like coming up. So I'm not going to thank you once again. So would you consider SAP Integration Suite as an integration platform, given the integration importance?
I think yes. That's what we did. We used to have SAP PI XI and we managed to make it working quite with zero downtime. We was working with active global support, mostly on that. We actually retailers are a little bit reluctant on using the integration suite as a cloud service, just a little bit because the integration is very important. We'll see how reliable it will be. In terms of functionality, definitely the answer is definitely yes. So SAP makes a good software which can operate 24/7. In terms of cloud service, sometimes it's depends on the service and on the country where it sits. So the answer is 50/50 at the moment for me. So they move in there. They should make it more reliable, consistent, and more flexible. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So I think we're done here. If you have some questions that need to be addressed to Andrei, you can find him at LinkedIn, right? If there is something
Sure.
that is worth discussing in more detail. All right. So thank you so much. Just to remind you that this webinar is recorded and we are going to publish it on YouTube channel, and we will provide the links to it a bit later. So thank you so much for being here, for your active listening and participation, and have a great day.
Thank you, Roman. Thank you.
Bye-bye.